Greetings from the Horn Studio at the University of Oklahoma. I will be giving a series of 3 video clinics over the 2013-14 Oklahoma All-State Preliminary Auditions for the Horn. All material comes from the Auditions-Pottag Preparatory Melodies for Solo Work. With each individual clinic, I will give you tips and pointers which will make the execution of these etudes more effective. If you are watching this video, I appreciate your initiative. Regardless of the outcome, information gleaned from these clinics will make you a better player. Look at my previous YouTube post from the 2013 tryouts regarding general comments for effective preparation of audition music. This will be an overall guide to your success and how you approach these etudes. So, let's get to work. Let's look at etude number 26. Here we are at etude number 26. There are some things of which to be aware. One is volume. This is a softer lyrical piece. Even though it's soft, you have to use air. Always let the air move. Don't let your aperture or the opening in your lip squeeze or ration the air in order to play soft. Yeah, don't get a feeble sound. You need to think about how we whistle. When we whistle soft, there's a lot of air in that whistle. So it's a significant air supply. Get that same feeling when you play soft on the instrument. I'm using a lot of wind, and the sound is just floating on the wind. Second, dynamic contrast. There are 5 dynamic levels in this etude. There's pianissimo, piano, mezzo forte, forte. We don't want to have a generic volume for the entire piece. So in order to get a dynamic contrast, play a note repeatedly to adjust your dynamic range so that you show a nice variance of dynamics. The softest controllable sound that you get should be your pianissimo. So the forte is a nice full sound. Not necessarily loud, but just think about full. Also, be aware of your air needs when playing upper and lower notes. Upper notes need more air direction. In other words, when a note goes up or I have a leap, I don't think of a note as being low to high. I think about being the lower note here, and they're on the same plane, and I just reach the air, going from a lower note to a higher note. So their upper notes are blown out rather than squeezed upwards. Conversely, when we play low, we actually need to use more energy because lower notes take more energy to sound as loud as upper notes. For instance, if I use the same dynamic, Notice that that lower note sounds softer. So if I have to make sure that that lower note sounds as loud as the upper note, I'm going to have to use a little bit more energy. I let my ear be my guide. So what does this mean? To gain better control and efficiency, if you have a descending line with a diminuendo, you don't need to do a physical diminuendo. Just keep the same energy going, and the motion of the notes going down, if you use the same energy, will make a diminuendo happen. That diminuendo in the second or third full bar, I just used the same amount of energy and a diminuendo happened. Playing efficiency is a key. Next, let's address articulation. Be aware in this exercise of passages that are slurred and which ones are tongued. One confusing mark happens second bar from the end of the top line, where we have a slur and then we have dots on these. This mark is played legato with the slightest bit of emphasis or lean to each note. Now to practice this, what you can do is slur with a little bump, just slightly. And then play it legato. Then put them together. So that takes care of this. This happens frequently through this piece, so play this accordingly. Next is tempo. I like the tempo of a quarter note at 63. I was actually playing a little bit slower on my demonstrations. So. So forth, like that. Now, we need to work for rhythmic stability as well as air use. In order to make sure that you're using steady air and that you can control crescendos and diminuendos, practice this subdivided. This does a couple of things. First of all, in keeping that energy moving with the repeated notes, you remain active on the air. And that's very important. You will not let your air die. Also, notice that when I came to the dotted 8/16ths, it helped me stay honest with them. Dotted 8/16ths are probably the worst executed note consistently that everyone plays. It's almost always not square. So if we're thinking of the eighth note pulse and you have dotted 8/16ths, that 16th note is literally halfway in between the primary beats. So if I put the subdivision on, I'm going to sustain through the second eighth note. So forth like that. So let's see what happens now when we put all this together.